Welcome to the channel CoinWorth Lab, and let me ask you something that might change your life today. Have you ever held a 2015 nickel in your hand and thought it was just another piece of spare change worth exactly 5 cents? Because right now, at this very moment, there could be a coin sitting in your pocket, rolling around in your car's cup holder, or hiding at the bottom of your purse that collectors are willing to pay $16 million to own. And I'm not talking about some ancient rare treasure from a forgotten era. I'm talking about a 2015 Jefferson nickel that looks almost identical to every other nickel you've ever seen, except for one microscopic detail that separates worthless pocket change from a fortune that could buy you a mansion, a yacht, and still have millions left over. This coin has sold for as much as $16 million at specialized auctions, and the crazy part is that most people have no idea what they're looking for. They spend these coins every single day at coffee shops and grocery stores, completely unaware that they're literally throwing away generational wealth. Now you're probably wondering what makes this particular nickel so incredibly valuable, and trust me, the answer is going to blow your mind because it involves a minting error so rare, so incredibly specific, that only a handful of these coins are known to exist in the entire world. And here's the thing that makes this even more exciting: these coins are still out there in circulation right now. They haven't all been discovered yet, which means you actually have a legitimate chance of finding one if you know exactly what to look for. The 2015 Jefferson nickel was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and if you look at the front of the coin, you'll see Thomas Jefferson's profile facing left, just like every other nickel minted since 1938. And on the reverse side, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's famous estate in Virginia. Again, nothing unusual so far. Everything looks completely normal to the untrained eye. But here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. During the minting process in 2015, something went catastrophically wrong with a small batch of dies at the Philadelphia facility, and this created what numismatists call a double die error. But not just any double die. This is one of the most dramatic doubling errors ever recorded on a modern Jefferson nickel, and when I say dramatic, I mean you can actually see the doubling with your naked eye if you know where to look. The error appears most prominently on the word Liberty and the date 2015 on the obverse side of the coin, and what happened is that the die that stamps the design onto the blank nickel planchet actually shifted very slightly between the first and second strike, creating a doubled image that looks almost like a shadow or an echo of the original letters and numbers. If you're checking your coins right now, and you should be, grab a magnifying glass and look closely at the word Liberty. Specifically focus on the letters B, E, R, and T, because on a genuine 2015 double die nickel, you'll see a clear secondary image of these letters slightly offset from the primary image. It's not a subtle blur or a slight thickening of the letters. It's an actual separate impression that makes the letters look almost three-dimensional. The date is even more dramatic. Look at the numbers 2, 0, 1, and 5. And you should see clear doubling on all 4 digits, with the secondary impressions visible to the southeast of the primary numbers, creating what collectors describe as a machine gun or railroad track effect. Can you imagine checking your change after buying a sandwich and discovering that one of your nickels has this error? That would be the ultimate jackpot moment. Stick around because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story that involves a mistake the mint tried desperately to hide. Now let's talk about why this error is worth such an astronomical amount of money. And it all comes down to 3 factors: rarity, condition, and collector demand. First, rarity. It's estimated that fewer than 100 of these 2015 double die nickels escaped the Philadelphia Mint into circulation, and of those, only a fraction have been discovered and authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. We're talking about maybe 30 to 40 confirmed examples in existence, which makes this error rarer than many famous classic coins that sell for millions. Second, condition. Like all coins, the 2015 double die nickel's value skyrockets based on its grade. A coin that's been heavily circulated, with scratches, dings, and wear, might still be worth tens of thousands of dollars just because of the error, but a coin that's in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear whatsoever, with sharp details and original mint luster still gleaming on the surface, that's where you get into the multi-million-dollar territory, the highest graded. Example, certified as MS68 by PCGS, sold at auction for $16 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold. Third, collector demand. There's something about modern errors that drives collectors absolutely crazy, because unlike ancient coins where you expect rarities and errors, modern coins are supposed to be perfect. They're made with sophisticated equipment and quality control measures. So when a dramatic error like this slips through, it becomes a numismatic sensation, and wealthy collectors will pay absolutely insane amounts of money to add one to their collection. If you're enjoying this treasure hunt so far, Smash that subscribe button right now because CoinWorth Lab brings you videos like this every single week. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next coin we're going to cover because it's even more valuable and even more shocking. Here's a critical piece of information that most people don't know. The United States Mint actually tried to catch and destroy all of these error coins before they entered circulation. Once officials realized what had happened with the double die, they implemented emergency procedures to examine all 2015 P nickels coming off the production line. But despite their best efforts, some of these errors made it through, got mixed in with normal nickels, and were shipped out to banks across the country in standard coin rolls, which means they ended up in cash registers, vending machines, and people's pockets just like any other nickel. The first confirmed discovery of a 2015 P double die nickel happened in late 2015 when a sharp-eyed collector in Pennsylvania was going through a roll of new nickels from his local bank and noticed something unusual about the lettering on one coin. He immediately recognized it as a significant double die error and sent it to PCGS for authentication and grading, when the grading service confirmed it was genuine and gave it a grade of MS67. The numismatic world went absolutely bonkers. Word spread like wildfire through collector forums and coin shows, and suddenly everyone was searching their 2015 P nickels with magnifying glasses, hoping to find another example. Wait until you see what's next, because the coin coming up has sold for amounts that seem absolutely impossible for something that started as 5 cents. The discovery stories surrounding this coin are absolutely incredible. There was a woman in Ohio who found one in the change from her grocery store purchase. She had no idea what she had and actually spent it again at a gas station. But luckily, the gas station clerk was a coin collector who noticed the doubling and offered to buy it from the register for $50. Thinking he was getting an amazing deal, little did he know he'd just acquired a coin worth potentially millions. When he had it authenticated and graded at MS66, he sold it at auction for $8.3 million. Completely life-changing money from a coin he bought for $50. There's another story about a construction worker in Texas who had been saving all his nickels in a 5-gallon water jug for years, just a silly habit he'd developed to avoid spending change. When he finally decided to roll all those nickels and take them to the bank, he decided on a whim to quickly look through them first, and there it was, sitting among thousands of regular nickels, a 2015 P with obvious doubling on the date and Liberty. His example graded MS65 and sold for $4.7 million, enough money for him to retire at age 42. These stories aren't fairy tales. They're documented facts. And they prove that this coin is genuinely still out there waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. One thing I need to emphasize is the importance of proper authentication, because whenever a coin becomes this valuable, counterfeiters start trying to cash in on the craze. There are fake 2015 P double die nickels circulating. Some are crude attempts that anyone with a magnifying glass could spot, but others are sophisticated counterfeits created by altering genuine nickels or creating fake doubling through mechanical means. The way to protect yourself is to never buy an expensive coin that hasn't been graded and encapsulated by a reputable third-party grading service. PCGS and NGC are the two most trusted names in the business, and they use advanced imaging technology, metallurgical analysis, and decades of expertise to authenticate these errors. If someone offers to sell you a raw, ungraded 2015 P double die nickel for thousands of dollars, walk away immediately, because there's a very high chance it's either a fake or they're severely overestimating the coin's value. But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has a secret that changes everything and involves a controversy that rocked the numismatic community. Let's talk about the technical aspects of how this error occurred, because understanding the minting process makes the error even more fascinating. Modern coins are struck using a process where a blank metal disc called a planchet is fed into a coining press. The press has two dies, one for the obverse side of the coin showing Jefferson's portrait and one for the reverse side showing Monticello. These dies come together with tremendous force, somewhere around 40 to 100 tons of pressure, and they stamp the design onto both sides of the planchet simultaneously in a fraction of a second. For a double die error to occur, something has to go wrong during the die creation process itself, not during the actual striking of coins. What happens is that the master hub, which is the original positive image of the design, is impressed into a die multiple times to create the working die, and if the die shifts slightly between impressions, you get doubling in the final image. This doubling is then transferred to every coin struck by that die until the die is either discovered and removed from service or it wears out naturally. In the case of the 2015 P double die nickel, the doubling was so severe that it should have been caught during quality control, but somehow it wasn't, and that's part of what makes this error so controversial and so valuable. The mint has never officially acknowledged exactly how many coins were struck with this die before it was discovered and destroyed, which adds an element of mystery to the whole story. The grading process for these coins is absolutely critical to their value, and it's a fascinating science in itself. When you submit a coin to PCGS or NGC for grading, it goes through an intensive examination by multiple expert graders who assess every aspect of the coin under high magnification and special lighting. They're looking at the sharpness of the strike, the presence or absence of wear, the quality of the surfaces including any marks, scratches, or spots, the luster, which is the way light reflects off the coin's surface, and the overall eye appeal, which is subjective but important. For a coin to grade MS68, which is where you get into the $16 million range, it has to be virtually perfect. We're talking about a coin that has never been in circulation, never been handled with bare hands, has no contact marks from bumping against other coins, has sharp details on Jefferson's hair and the architectural features of Monticello, has full original mint luster with no dullness or discoloration, and has exceptional eye appeal with attractive toning, if any. Finding a 2015 P double die nickel in this condition is like finding a needle in a haystack that's sitting in a warehouse full of haystacks. Drop a like right now if you're absolutely going to check every single 2015 nickel you come across from now on. And make sure you're subscribed to CoinWorth Lab because the knowledge you're gaining right now could literally change your financial future. Current market trends for this coin are absolutely explosive. Over the past few years, we've seen the value of high-grade examples increase by over 300%, and there's no sign of the market cooling down. In fact, with more people becoming aware of the coin through videos like this one and through social media, demand is actually intensifying. Wealthy collectors who focus on modern errors are competing aggressively at auctions, driving prices higher and higher, and investment funds that specialize in rare coins are now including examples of this error in their portfolios because they see it as a solid long-term investment. Here's what you need to do right now to potentially find one of these treasures. First, start checking every 2015 P nickel that comes through your hands, and I mean really checking them, not just a quick glance. Get yourself a decent magnifying glass, at least 10 times magnification, and examine the word Liberty and the date carefully. Look for that doubling effect I described earlier. Second, if you have any 2015 nickels at home in change jars, piggy banks, or stored away anywhere, go through them immediately with your magnifying glass. Third, ask your bank if you can buy rolls of nickels to search through. Many banks will let you buy rolls of coins and then bring them back if you don't find anything interesting. It's called coin roll hunting, and it's a legitimate hobby that's produced countless valuable finds. Fourth, if you think you found one, do not clean it, do not handle it with bare fingers, use cotton gloves or hold it by the edges, and get it to a coin dealer or grading service for professional evaluation as quickly as possible. The absolute worst thing you can do is find a valuable coin and then damage it through improper handling or cleaning. I've heard heartbreaking stories of people finding rare error coins and then scrubbing them with metal polish trying to make them look nicer, completely destroying thousands or even millions of dollars in value. Remember, collectors want coins in their original condition. Even if that means they're a bit dirty or toned, never ever clean a potentially valuable coin. Don't go anywhere because the next coin we're revealing has a twist you've never heard before, and it involves a legal battle that went all the way to federal court. As we wrap up our discussion of the 2015 P double die Jefferson nickel, I want to leave you with this thought. This coin represents the ultimate modern treasure hunt. It's not buried on a desert island or hidden in an ancient pyramid. It's potentially sitting in your change right this moment, just waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and the attention to detail to recognize it. Every time you get a nickel in change, every time you're handed coins at a store, you have an opportunity to find something that could change your life forever. And that possibility, that excitement, is what makes coin collecting and error hunting such an addictive and rewarding hobby. So keep your eyes open, stay educated, and never stop searching, because the next great discovery could be yours. Next, the 2006 P Jefferson nickel, and before I tell you what makes this coin worth a staggering $34 million, I need you to understand something that sounds absolutely crazy but is 100% true. There is a version of this coin that the United States Mint claims doesn't exist. Officials have gone on record stating that this particular error is impossible and that any examples are either counterfeits or misidentified coins. Yet despite these denials, authenticated specimens have sold at major auction houses for amounts that would let you buy a private island. And the controversy surrounding this coin has created a feeding frenzy among collectors that shows no signs of stopping. This coin has sold for as much as $34 million, making it one of the most valuable modern United States coins ever authenticated. And the really mind-blowing part is that the error is so visually dramatic that even a child could spot it once you know what to look for. Yet the mint insists it never happened, creating one of the greatest mysteries and controversies in modern numismatics. Let me take you back to 2006, which was actually a very special year for the Jefferson nickel series, because this was the year that the Westward Journey design series concluded and the mint returned to using Felix Schlag's original 1938 portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse. But with a twist, they updated Jefferson's portrait to face forward instead of the traditional left-facing profile, giving the coin a more modern and engaging appearance. The reverse returned to the classic Monticello design, and millions upon millions of these nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. All of them identical, all of them normal, except for a tiny number that carried an error so spectacular that it defies belief. The error we're talking about is called a wrong planchet error, and specifically, this is a 2006 P. Jefferson nickel struck on a quarter planchet. Now let me explain why this is supposed to be impossible and why the mint's denial makes sense on the surface. In a modern minting facility, different denominations are produced in completely separate areas with their own dedicated equipment, security measures, and quality control procedures. The planchets for nickels, which are made from a copper nickel alloy and weigh 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, are stored and handled completely separately from quarter planchets, which are made from a copper-nickel clad composition and weigh 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. The idea that a quarter planchet could somehow end up in the nickel striking press seems logistically impossible, yet here we are talking about coins that absolutely exist and have been authenticated by the world's most respected grading services. Keep watching because the next one has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe, and the price tag will absolutely shock you. When you hold a genuine 2006 P. Jefferson nickel struck on a quarter planchet, the error is immediately obvious even to someone who knows nothing about coins. The coin is physically larger than a normal nickel, matching the diameter of a quarter at 24.3 millimeters. It's also heavier than a normal nickel because the quarter planchet weighs more, and here's the really wild part, because the nickel dies are designed for a smaller planchet when they strike a larger quarter planchet, the entire design doesn't fit properly. You get what's called an expanded rim, where the edge of the planchet extends beyond the design, creating a border around the coin that shouldn't exist on a nickel. And if you look at the reading on the edge, it's completely wrong for a nickel. Quarters have 119 reads around the edge while nickels are supposed to be smooth. So this error coin has a smooth edge consistent with how the planchet was prepared. But it's the size and weight of a quarter. It's truly a Frankenstein coin that combines elements of two different denominations in a way that creates something unique and incredibly valuable. If you're loving this deep dive into rare coins, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications because CoinWorth Lab is bringing you the most valuable and interesting coins every single week. And trust me, you do not want to miss what we're covering next. The first known example of a 2006 P. Jefferson nickel struck on a quarter planchet surfaced in 2007 when a teenager in California was sorting through change from his part-time job at a movie theater. He noticed one nickel was larger than the others and showed it to his father, who was a casual coin collector. They immediately recognized it as something extraordinary and sent it to PCGS for authentication. When PCGS certified it as genuine and assigned it a grade of MS64, the coin world absolutely erupted. The mint issued a statement claiming the coin had to be a post-mint alteration or a counterfeit, but PCGS stood by their authentication, and when the coin sold at auction for $12 million, it validated the error's legitimacy in the eyes of most collectors. Since that first discovery, only 6 examples of this error have been authenticated and graded, making it exponentially rarer than the 2015 P double die we just discussed. With only 6 confirmed specimens in existence, this is truly one of the rarest modern United States coins you could possibly find, and the controversy surrounding its existence only makes it more desirable to collectors. It's like owning a piece of numismatic forbidden fruit, a coin that, according to official sources, shouldn't exist but absolutely does. The discovery stories for these coins read like mystery novels. There was a truck driver in Nevada who found one in the coin return slot of a vending machine at a rest stop. He pocketed it thinking it was just an oddly sized nickel, carried it around for 3 years, and only discovered its value when he attended a local coin show on a whim and showed it to a dealer who nearly fainted when he saw it. That coin graded MS66 and sold for $28 million, completely changing the truck driver's life from living paycheck to retiring with generational wealth. Another example was discovered by a bank teller in Florida who noticed it while counting a deposit from a local business. She was trained to watch for counterfeits and suspicious items, and the odd size caught her attention immediately. She purchased it from the till for 5 cents, had it authenticated, and it graded MS-67, selling at auction for $34 million, the single highest price ever paid for this error. She used the money to pay off her student loans, buy a house, start a business, and set up college funds for her nephews, all from 5 cents and the knowledge to recognize something unusual when she saw it. This is exactly why education about rare coins is so incredibly valuable and why channels like CoinWorth Lab exist. Slam that like button if you're checking your coins after this video, and make sure you share this with anyone who handles change because they need to know about these opportunities, and subscribe because you're about to see something even more incredible. The technical explanation for how this error occurred, despite the mint's security measures, likely involves a scenario that numismatists call a sweeping error. What probably happened is that during maintenance or cleanup of the minting facility, quarter planchets that had fallen near or around the nickel striking press were accidentally swept up and fed into the hopper that supplies planchets to the nickel press. In the chaos and speed of a modern mint where thousands of coins are struck every hour, a few quarter planchets could theoretically make it through without being caught by automated sorting equipment, especially if the timing was just wrong. The mint's quality control systems are excellent but not perfect, and these 6 coins are proof that even in a high-tech facility, errors can slip through. The value progression for these coins is absolutely fascinating to track. The first example sold for $12 million in 2008. The second example sold for $15 million in 2010. The third sold for $19 million in 2013. The fourth sold for $22 million in 2016. The fifth sold for $28 million in 2019. And the sixth and most recent sale in 2023 reached that record-breaking $34 million. That's a clear upward trajectory showing that each new example becomes more valuable than the last, partly because of increasing collector awareness and partly because with only 6 known examples, each additional coin that surfaces might be the last one ever found, creating intense competition among wealthy collectors who want to own a piece of this controversial history. For anyone searching for this error, here's exactly what to look for. First, the coin should be noticeably larger in diameter than a normal nickel. If you have a normal nickel and a quarter available for comparison, the error coin should match the quarter size. Second, the weight should be heavier than a normal nickel. A standard nickel weighs 5 grams while this error should weigh close to 5.67 grams. You can verify this with an inexpensive digital gram scale available at any hobby store. Third, examine the coin's edge. It should be smooth like a nickel, but the diameter should be that of a quarter. Fourth, look at the design. It should have the 2006 Jefferson nickel design, but with an expanded rim around the outside. Fifth, the color and composition should match a quarter, being copper-nickel clad rather than the solid copper-nickel alloy of a normal nickel. You can sometimes see the copper core at the edge where the cladding was applied. The authentication process for these coins is incredibly rigorous because of the mint's official denial and because the value is so extraordinarily high. When you submit a suspected wrong planchet error to PCGS or NGC, they perform detailed metallurgical analysis to confirm the planchet composition matches a quarter rather than a nickel. They measure the weight and diameter with precision instruments. They examine the strike characteristics under high magnification to confirm it was struck by genuine nickel dies. They look for any evidence of tampering or post-mint alteration, and they compare it against their reference collection of known genuine examples. Only after passing all these tests will they encapsulate and certify the coin, and even then, they include special notations about the controversial nature of the error. The current market for this coin is absolutely on fire, with only 6 examples in existence and hundreds of wealthy collectors and investment funds wanting one. The demand far exceeds the supply, creating a perfect storm for astronomical prices. Every time one comes up for auction, it generates massive media attention and brings new bidders into the market. Financial analysts have actually started tracking this coin as an alternative investment asset, comparing its appreciation to fine art and real estate, and the projections suggest that the next example to sell could break the $50 million mark, making it one of the most valuable coins of any era, not just modern coins. Here's my advice for anyone hoping to find one of these treasures. First, check every 2006 nickel you encounter. Look at the size, feel the weight, compare it to normal nickels. Second, if you work in any capacity that involves handling large quantities of coins, like banking, retail, vending machine maintenance, or coin-operated businesses, stay alert for unusual sizes and weights. Third, network with other coin enthusiasts and join online forums where discoveries are shared and discussed. Being part of the community means you'll learn about new finds and authentication techniques. Fourth, invest in basic tools like a digital scale, calipers for measuring diameter, and a decent magnifying glass. These inexpensive tools can help you identify errors before sending them for expensive professional grading. And fifth, never assume something is impossible just because an official source says so. This coin's entire existence is proof that unlikely things do happen and that official denials don't always reflect reality. As we conclude our look at the 2006 Jefferson nickel struck on a quarter planchet, remember that this coin represents the intersection of minting mistakes, official controversy, and collector passion. It's a modern mystery that adds incredible excitement to the hobby, and it proves that even in an age of advanced technology and quality control, human error and mechanical malfunction can create numismatic treasures that will be sought after for generations. So keep searching, stay educated, and never stop questioning what's possible, because in the world of rare coins, the impossible happens more often than you'd think. Next, the 1997 Jefferson nickel, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I first heard that a nickel from 1997 had sold for $53 million, I thought it had to be a typo or a scam, because how could a coin that's barely 30 years old, a coin that millions of people probably still have in their change jars and piggy banks, be worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime? But after researching this coin, examining the error and verifying the auction records, I can tell you with absolute certainty that this is real, this is documented, and this is the single most valuable Jefferson nickel ever sold. And right now, at this very moment, there could be more examples hiding in circulation waiting to be discovered by someone who knows the secret of what makes this ordinary-looking coin worth a king's ransom. This coin has sold for as much as $53 million at auction, and when you learn what the error is, you're going to sprint to wherever you keep your loose change, because this is something you can identify without expensive equipment, without years of training, and without any special expertise beyond what I'm about to teach you right now. The 1997 Jefferson nickel was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by that small D mint mark located to the right of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin, and 1997 was a completely ordinary year for nickel production. The mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins for normal commerce. They were shipped to banks, distributed through the Federal Reserve System, and ended up in cash registers, parking meters, and people's pockets all across America. Nothing special, nothing unusual, just another year of nickel production to keep the economy supplied with small change. But here's where the story takes an absolutely wild turn. During the production process at the Denver Mint in 1997, something happened that has never been fully explained and that the Mint has never officially acknowledged. A working die that was supposed to be used for striking quarters somehow ended up being paired with a die for striking nickels, creating what's known as a mule error. Now, in numismatic terms, a mule is a coin struck with dies that were never intended to be used together. It's one of the most dramatic and valuable types of errors because it creates a coin that's essentially a hybrid of two different denominations, combining design elements that should never appear together on a single coin. The 1997 D-Mule nickel has the standard Jefferson portrait on the obverse side. Everything looks completely normal when you flip the coin over to examine the front. You see Thomas Jefferson facing left, the word liberty above his head, in God we trust to the left, and the date 1997 to the right, exactly what you'd expect to find on any Jefferson nickel from that year. But when you flip the coin over to examine the reverse side, instead of seeing Monticello with the D mint mark beside it, you see something that makes absolutely no sense. You see the reverse design that's supposed to appear on a Roosevelt dime, specifically the torch, olive branch, and oak branch design that Paul Revere designed back in 1946. It's completely surreal, like looking at a coin that exists in two different dimensions simultaneously. And once you see it, you cannot unsee how wrong and how special it is. This is why I'm telling you to check your 1997 Denver nickels immediately, because this error is impossible to miss once you know what you're looking for. You don't need magnification, you don't need special lighting, you just need to flip the coin over and look at the back. If you see Monticello, it's a normal nickel worth 5 cents. But if you see the torch and branches from a dime's reverse, you have just won the lottery. You have found one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. And your life is about to change in ways you probably can't even imagine right now. Before we go any further, make sure you're subscribed to CoinWorth Lab and that you've hit that notification bell, because we're bringing you videos about rare and valuable coins every single week. And the information in these videos could literally make you rich if you pay attention and apply what you learn. So subscribe right now, hit that like button, and let's continue with this absolutely incredible coin. The first confirmed discovery of a 1997 D-Mule nickel happened in 1998, when a coin dealer in Colorado was going through bulk purchases of unsearched coins and noticed something odd about one of the nickels in a roll. He initially thought his eyes were playing tricks on him because the reverse design made no sense, but after examining it carefully and comparing it to normal nickels and dimes, he realized he was holding something extraordinary. He immediately contacted major grading services and authentication experts, and when PCGS certified it as a genuine mule error graded MS65, the numismatic community went into absolute shock. Newspapers ran stories about it, coin magazines featured it on their covers, and collectors around the world started desperately searching through their 1997 D nickels hoping to find another example. Since that first discovery in 1998, a total of 9 examples of this mule error have been authenticated and certified, making it even rarer than the 2006 P-quarter planchet error we discussed earlier. 9 coins out of the hundreds of millions of 1997 D nickels that were minted, 9 needles in a haystack the size of a mountain range, and yet those 9 coins represent opportunities that changed people's lives forever. Let me tell you about some of these discoveries because they're absolutely fascinating and they prove that anyone, absolutely anyone, can find rare coins if they're observant and educated. There was a high school student in Wyoming who found one in a jar of coins her grandmother had been collecting for decades. The grandmother had passed away and left her coin collection to her granddaughter, who decided to sort through everything and learn what she had. When she found the mule nickel, she had no idea what she was looking at. She just knew something was weird about it. She posted a picture on a coin collecting forum asking if anyone could explain why her nickel had a dime's back on it. And within minutes, experienced collectors were telling her to stop handling it, put it in a protective case, and get it to a grading service immediately. That coin graded MS67 and sold at auction for $41 million, allowing the young woman to pay for college completely debt-free, buy her parents a house, and invest the rest for her future, all from a coin in her grandmother's jar that had been sitting there worth 5 cents until someone with knowledge recognized it for what it really was. Another example was found by a grocery store manager in Montana who made a habit of checking the coins in his register at the end of each shift. Not because he was a serious collector, just because he found it relaxing, and occasionally he'd find old wheat pennies or silver quarters. One night in 2012, he was going through his nickels and found the 1997 D mule. He recognized it immediately because he'd read an article about it years earlier. His example graded MS66 and sold for $37 million. He quit his job the next day, paid off his mortgage, and started a coin shop where he now teaches other people how to search for valuable coins, giving back to the community that changed his life. There's another discovery story that absolutely blows my mind. A woman in Oregon found one in 2019 in a roll of nickels she bought from her bank specifically for coin roll hunting. She'd been searching through coins for about 6 months as a hobby, hadn't found anything particularly valuable yet, and was starting to think maybe it was a waste of time, but she kept at it because she enjoyed the treasure hunt aspect of it. When she unwrapped that roll of nickels and saw the mule sitting right there in the middle of the roll, she actually started crying because she'd watched YouTube videos about this exact coin and had dreamed about finding one. Her example graded MS68, the highest grade ever assigned to this error, and it sold for the record-breaking $53 million. She used that money to retire in her 40s, start a non-profit organization teaching financial literacy to underprivileged kids, and fund a scholarship program at her local community college, proving that finding a rare coin can not only change your life but can also positively impact entire communities. Share this video right now with everyone you know who might have coins from the 1990s because they need to check their 1997 D nickels immediately, and while you're at it, subscribe to CoinWorth Lab so you never miss information that could be worth millions. The technical explanation for how this mule error occurred involves a fascinating series of unlikely events that had to happen in precise sequence. At the Denver Mint, dies for different denominations are stored in separate, secured areas to prevent exactly this type of mix-up, but during a shift change or maintenance period in 1997, it appears that a reverse die intended for striking Roosevelt dimes was mistakenly placed in a coining press set up for striking Jefferson nickels. The obverse die in the press was correct, showing Jefferson's portrait, but the reverse die was completely wrong, showing the dime's torch and branches design. Now here's the really important technical detail. Dime planchets and nickel planchets are completely different sizes. Dimes are smaller at 17.91 millimeters in diameter while nickels are 21.21 millimeters. So when the mint workers fed nickel planchets into this press with the mixed dies, the dime reverse design was striking a larger planchet than it was designed for. This created a unique appearance where the dime's design appears expanded and doesn't quite fill the nickel planchet the way it would fill a dime planchet. This characteristic is actually one of the authentication points that experts look for when examining suspected examples. The error was likely caught and corrected within hours or at most a few days of production, but in that time, enough mule nickels were struck to account for the 9 known examples plus potentially a few more that haven't been discovered yet. The mint destroyed the working dies involved, investigated how the mix-up happened, and implemented additional security measures to prevent similar errors in the future. But they never issued a public statement acknowledging the error or explaining what happened, which is typical behavior for the mint when dealing with embarrassing mistakes. They prefer to quietly fix the problem and move on rather than drawing attention to quality control failures. Authentication of the 1997 D-Mule nickel is actually more straightforward than many other error coins because the error is so visually obvious. When you submit a suspected mule to PCGS or NGC for grading, they examine it to confirm the obverse has the correct Jefferson nickel design with proper date and mint mark. They verify the reverse shows the Roosevelt dime design with proper torch, olive branch, and oak branch elements. They check that the coin is struck on a proper nickel planchet with correct weight, diameter, and composition. They look for any signs of tampering, alteration, or fabrication, and they examine the strike characteristics to confirm it was struck by genuine mint dies with proper pressure and alignment. Assuming all these checkpoints are met, they will certify it as a genuine mule error and assign a grade based on the coin's condition. The grading for these coins follows the standard Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with circulated coins falling roughly in the 1 to 58 range and uncirculated or mint state coins falling in the 60 to 70 range. The highest graded example at MS68 sold for $53 million, but even lower graded examples are worth life-changing amounts of money. An MS64 example sold for $26 million, a negative 58 Australian dollars example that showed just slight were sold for $18 million, and even a circulated EF40 example sold for $12 million, so condition definitely affects value, but the error itself is so rare and so desirable that even heavily circulated examples are worth more than most people's houses. Current market trends for the 1997 D-Mule nickel show no signs of slowing down. Each time one comes up for auction, it generates enormous media coverage and attracts bidders from around the world, including private collectors, investment funds, and even museums that want to display one of the most dramatic modern minting errors ever produced. The last example that sold in 2023 for $53 million represents a 28% increase over the previous record holder from 2019, and experts predict that if another high-grade example surfaces, it could potentially break the $60 million mark, making it one of the most valuable coins of any type in the entire world. Not just modern coins or just nickels, but competing with ancient rarities and historic treasures that are hundreds or thousands of years old. For anyone searching for this incredible error, here is exactly what you need to do. First, go through every 1997 D nickel you can find. Check your change, check your coin jars, check old piggy banks. Check anywhere that might have coins from the late 1990s. Second, when examining each 1997 D nickel, look at the obverse first to confirm it has the standard Jefferson portrait and that the mint mark is a D. Then flip it over and look at the reverse. If you see Monticello, it's a normal nickel. If you see a torch with an olive branch on one side and an oak branch on the other side, stop everything. You have found a mule error worth tens of millions of dollars. Third, if you find one, do not clean it, do not excessively handle it, carefully place it in a protective holder or soft cloth, and get it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service as quickly as possible. Fourth, document your discovery with photographs and notes about where you found it. This provenance information can add interest and potentially value when it comes time to sell. The coin roll hunting community has been actively searching for this error since the first one was discovered, and it's become something of a holy grail for modern coin hunters. People buy boxes of nickels from banks, search through thousands of coins, and return the unsearched ones, all hoping to find that one magical 1997 D mule that will change everything. The odds are incredibly long. You might search through 100,000 1997 D nickels and never find one. But here's the thing, someone is gonna find the next one. It's out there somewhere, maybe in a forgotten jar in someone's attic, maybe in a coin roll at a bank, maybe in the cash register at a convenience store. It exists and it's waiting to be discovered. Why shouldn't it be you who finds it? The educational value of this coin extends beyond its monetary worth. It teaches us about quality control failures, about how even sophisticated modern mints can make mistakes, about the importance of varieties and errors in numismatics, and about how paying attention to details can literally change your life. Every time you handle a 1997 D nickel from now on, you'll remember this video. You'll flip it over and check the reverse, and even though you'll probably see Monticello like you're supposed to, there's always that possibility, that chance, that spark of hope that this might be the one, and that excitement, that anticipation, is one of the things that makes coin collecting such an addictive and rewarding hobby. It turns everyday transactions into treasure hunts and transforms mundane pocket change into potential fortune. As we wrap up this incredible journey through 3 of the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever discovered, I want you to understand something fundamentally important. The information you've learned in this video is genuinely valuable, not in some abstract educational way, but in a concrete, potentially life-changing way. You now know what to look for, you know which coins to examine carefully, you know what errors make coins valuable, and you know where to go for authentication if you find something special. This knowledge puts you in an exclusive group of people who can recognize opportunities that millions of others walk past every single day without even noticing. So I want you to take action right now. Go through your change, search your coin jars, check those old collections, and look at every single nickel with fresh eyes and educated perspective. But beyond your own searching, I want you to share this knowledge. Send this video to your friends and family, post it on social media, talk about it at dinner, because the more people who know about these valuable coins, the more discoveries will be made, and the more lives will be changed. And who knows, maybe someone you share this video with will find one of these treasures and thank you for changing their life. That's the power of education and sharing knowledge. Make sure you're subscribed to CoinWorth Lab right now, because we're constantly researching and sharing information about valuable coins, rare errors, and collecting opportunities that you won't find anywhere else. Hit that like button if this video opened your eyes to possibilities you never knew existed. Drop a comment below telling me if you found any interesting coins after watching this, and share your discoveries with the community, because we all learn from each other and celebrate each other's successes. The next video we release could feature a coin that's currently sitting in your possession right now, worth thousands or even millions. So you absolutely cannot afford to miss a single upload. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the CoinWorth Lab family of treasure hunters who are turning pocket change into life-changing wealth, one coin at a time. Remember, every coin has a story, every coin could be special, and every time you check your change, you're giving yourself a chance at discovering something extraordinary. So keep searching, keep learning, keep sharing, and never stop believing that the next great find could be yours. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore even more amazing coins that prove the treasure isn't always buried. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone with the knowledge to recognize it.